Welcome to Zoe Photography. Is the Canon 550D, also known as the T2i, better than the 2000D, also known as the T6i? Let's find out. So this is Zoe Photography and I make videos about how to use Canon cameras and hello and welcome to Zoe Photography. Today we're going to be talking about if the Canon 550D, also known as the T2i, is better than the 2000D, which is known as the T7. So I make videos about cameras and gear. Here's a quick trailer to let you know what I do. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure to subscribe so you get notifications directly to you. I do unboxings, I talk about photography, photos, lighting and how to get the best from your camera. But today we're looking at a comparison of cameras. I take you over to this main screen here. What we're going to be looking at today is which camera is better. So I did a video a while ago about my Canon 550D, which is a T2i camera. It's a fairly old camera, but I've commented on one of my viewers that left a comment to ask which is better. So if I take you over to my screen now and show you that. So if I bring this over now, this is the video that I made, which was Canon 550 T2i in 2009. Is it worth buying it? So I had someone comment on it and ask me about the questions. If I go to that comment somewhere here, Isber HQ said, is the Canon 550D better than the recent Canon 4000D and the 1000 series? So I basically went back and said I had to choose between them today, the 550D and the 4000D. I would choose the 4000D even at that price difference. It's newer. The 1000D series tend to be basic until you get to about the 1300D, which is still basic but has HD video. So I replied with that, but I thought that's a good question to actually elaborate on. And at the time I replied quite quickly thinking the 4000D probably is better than the 550. What I've got right now is a proper comparison. So what I'll do is I'll actually bring up a side-by-side view of those cameras and go through the information to let you decide which is actually better. So what I've done is I bring you up here and open up what I did a search of. Can you see that? I did a side-by-side comparison. And should I zoom in on that, or will you be able to see that? Let's just see if I can zoom in on that. Actually, yeah, I can. Wait one sec, I'll do this. There you go. Okay, so Canon EOS Rebel T7, known as the 2000D. Let me just make sure. Yeah, 2000D. It's got naming conventions which are used different countries. So in America they call it the Rebel T7, and the 550D is known as the T2i. So announced 2010 February is when the Canon 550D came out, and the newer one is announced. The 2000D is 2018. They're both compact SLR cameras, single lens reflex, and there you'll see max resolution. So the 550D is slightly lower in terms of the resolution. However, even when you shoot RAW in that camera, that is more than usable, and it does pretty well. The main difference being megapixels. So megapixels is a whole new war that DSLR camera guys are going through at the moment. It's not necessarily more megapixels are good. It's just that I might do a separate video about that actually to explain the difference in megapixels and what they actually mean. So keep an eye out for that. I'll do a whole new video to explain that. So okay, let's just go at the numbers, shall we? If I get up a new notepad and we can log these as we go along because it'll be handy. If you're doing research and you're looking at cameras, I'll make it a bit easier for you. Oops, that notepad there. Okay, the first difference, come on, is, can you see that? Yes. Okay, if I move that over there, 24 versus 18 megapixels, and sensor photo detectors. So obviously there's a difference of megapixels, which is why you're getting a higher resolution image. And there is a Digic 4 Plus processor in the Rebel T7 versus a Digic 4 in the 550D. So let's just log that as well. The first, you know what, that's gonna start getting confusing, but if I bring that down here, okay. So when it comes to processors and Digic 4 Plus and Digic 4, that's basically how the camera handles the photo once it's taken. So it's kind of like a mm, loosely like a motherboard CPU. It's how good it shows images in terms of ISO, how smoothly it appears. But I'll do a whole separate video about that as well to explain it in more detail. So apart from that, the ISO, uh, the 2000D is between 100 and 6400, expandable to 1200, 12,800, which with boost the 550D can also do. White balance preset 6, raw, they both shoot raw. There's, let's have a look, autofocus points, all similar apart from the T7 has a center, and I'm sure the 550 has a center focusing point anyway, which is the red dot normally in the middle. If that's what it's referring to. Continuous face detection, live view, yes, yes, yes. Digital zoom, no. Manual focus, yes, depending on your lens. Number of focus points, both cameras have 9. Lens compatibility, and it's a 1.6 factor because it's a crop sensor body, fine. LCD, same size, um, but the screen dots on the 550D are actually higher than the T7, so that's one plus point for screen dots, and basically how well it shows the image in the back of the camera. Screen type TFT color liquid crystal LCD for the 550. It just says LCD for the T7. I'm just going to note the big differences. Optical pentamirror, 95% viewfinder coverage, fine. Those numbers are pretty close, nothing to worry about. Minimum shutter speed 30 seconds, maximum 1/4000th of a second, fine. Aperture priority, shutter priority, manual exposure modes. Okay, these are more for newer photographers, like preset modes in the camera. Don't really look at those. Um, Flash range. Okay, I'm not sure about that bit there. I'll have to check that out. That's going a bit too in depth even for me. Okay, external flash, yes, both are compatible. And drive modes, okay, frame rates, this is something I can explain about. So the newer camera has 3 frames per second, and the older 550D has 3.7. That's a big difference. Let's log that down. Okay, and exposure compensation, that's nothing to worry about. Resolutions, format, so the T7 records an MPEG-4 and H.264, which only the 550D does H.264. Modes, microphone is mono on the T7, and in 550D is a stereo. Compatible cards, both similar. USB the same. Built-in, okay, so the 2000D has a built-in Wi-Fi. That's worth logging. The 550 you have to use a dongle type thing where you plug it in. If I just get that for the Wi-Fi and put that there and that there, bring it the wrong way around, get that, and I'll sort that out in a bit. Okay, so environmentally sealed, no, not weatherproof. Different battery packs. So 550 takes the EPLE8, and the battery description for the 2000D is LPE10. And there's a slight difference in weight. The older camera weighs a little bit more. And let's have a quick look. Is anything else on here? That's it. Yes, okay, that's your overview. If you're doing any research, then you can use this as an example. If I go back over to the main screen so we can actually speak a bit more detail about this, if I bring that here, and let's get rid of that. I need to see that. Good. Okay, so megapixels is the main one. The newer camera has 24 megapixels. The older one has 18 megapixels. Is not a major worry. 3.7 frames per second. So if you're shooting something quite quick, you'll get slightly more out of the 550D than you would the 2000D. And the Digic 4 processor is a Digic 4 in the 550 and a Digic 4 Plus. There's a slight difference, but that's not going to be major game changer. Wi-Fi is built in to the newer camera, but it's an expandable thing on the old camera. So do you need Wi-Fi in your camera is the question. That's a whole new topic which I will look at. So if I was still going to buy a camera, even though it's nearly 10 years old, I would still buy the Canon 550D. So that's a bit of a massive. In 2018, Canon have released a camera which is 2000D, yet an old camera is very similar in terms of the spec. So all they're basically doing is, I think, because the entry level of cameras that they introduced before, like the 400D, 450, 500, 550, are old, they basically just revamped a new camera with the same spec, just so they could say they have a new release date. So if you're looking for a newer camera, you know what? Let's have a look at the price difference just to see. So if I bring it back here, and I go into, let's go into a new private window and have a quick look at. I'm looking at second-hand market Canon 550D. Let's do a buy it now price. Buy it now. Okay, so there's a reasonable example of £150. Yeah, pretty much. That's not got a lens. You could go for the kit one with the standard 18 to 55 lens, which is a great starter pack. £165 there. So that's your 550D. Now let's jump over to the 2000D and see, is it worth paying that much extra for those few things? Body only. Okay, there's a good example. £310. Okay, that's with the lens. So £310 versus, you could say 150 if you wanted to have that one there. That's a good example there as well. But nearly double. So do I think it's worth paying double for a newer camera? If you're starting and you're new, buy the cheaper camera. The body is going to give you good enough experience to see how well you do with it, and then you can upgrade. So to answer the original question, I think I need to update my comment to that fellow that asked me the question. So I think I would still buy the Canon 550D. So that's a bit of a shocker. What I will do is I'll link to you in the cards to that video that I made before about the Canon 550D and if I would buy it in 2019. That video playlist is on the right. On the left is a video that YouTube thinks you should be watching. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe so these notifications come directly to you, and I'll see you on the next video.